Hey, it's Crypto Bobby, and today I want to talk to you about the Bitcoin versus altcoin debate right now from an investment perspective. Whether in a lot of cases you're better off having your money in Bitcoin for the time being, or if you're better picking and choosing in altcoins and trying to find some certain crypto out there that can outperform Bitcoin, and how this debate kind of lines up in preparation for the Bitcoin Segwit2x fork and what we can learn in the past from Bitcoin Gold. So let's hop into that discussion today. If you are new to the channel by any chance, I do daily videos on the subject of cryptocurrency. So hit that subscribe button so you get notified on any time I do new videos, as well as when I do the live YouTube live crypto happy hours where I hop in here, talk about crypto and what's happening on a day-to-day basis. So getting into the real subject of discussion. Today is an interesting day when we're looking at B2X, when we're looking at the Bitcoin markets in general. Bitcoin is, for the most part, far exceeding the returns of basically every other cryptocurrency or altcoin or whatever you want to call it out there. Almost every other crypto asset out there. You hop over to CoinMarketCap right now. Bitcoin is up about 5% on the day. Was up even more, up about 7% previously. Just had a little bit of a pullback that we could hop into more. Where other cryptos out there are either down a bit or remaining relatively stable from a US dollar percentage. So what does that all mean, and how am I relating a lot of this to the Bitcoin Segwit2x fork, and how is that really playing into this? Well, I think one of the first and most interesting things is looking at Bitcoin Gold, how that fork took place, how that happened, and then Segwit2x or the B2X fork and how that is going to go down. And there were a lot of people out there that were putting money into Bitcoin prior to Bitcoin Gold and taking money out of some altcoins, putting that, even I did that, taking money out of some of these altcoins, putting it into Bitcoin prior to the Bitcoin Gold fork, and in some cases just prior to Bitcoin Gold, and some people thinking long-term for Bitcoin Gold and B2X. But a lot of the emphasis was placed on Bitcoin Gold, and people put all that money into, Bitcoin prior to Bitcoin Gold, drove up the price pretty substantially. Obviously, there are other external factors out there as well, but the price of Bitcoin was driven up substantially prior to that Bitcoin Gold fork. And as soon as the fork happened, as soon as that snapshot happened, you saw the price of Bitcoin dropping a couple $100s, and all of that money really not going into fiat, but moving directly into altcoins. So you saw a variety of crypto out there just up 10, 15, 20, 30, 40%, pretty much from fresh money moving in from Bitcoin, profit taking in Bitcoin as soon as that snapshot happened, moving into the altcoins. And after that happened, and right before that happened, there were a lot of people out there saying, Bitcoin's run is over. Put all your money in altcoins. Put all your money in altcoins. It's the altcoin winter's over. It's party time again. We're about to make a ton of money. All the altcoins are going to go up multiple 100%. Blah 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 blah. Turns out that as of right now, that's not happening. Really, not even close. If you take away the basically the 2 or 3 hours post Bitcoin Gold fork snapshot, Bitcoin has pretty much continued to dominate, whereas a lot of these altcoins have struggled outside of that couple hours, and a few separate altcoins that have had big types of news-driven events or certain things like that. So there have been a couple, that have done really well in the past couple of days, but the vast majority of crypto assets outside of Bitcoin have not been able to keep pace with Bitcoin. And as I'm looking at this, I'm trying to debate in my head, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking about this as well, but looking at, are you better off putting your money in Bitcoin and keeping it there, or are you better off in taking some smart, concerted bets with some of these, smaller cryptocurrencies that may or may not outperform Bitcoin? Obviously, you're trying to outperform Bitcoin. And as I'm looking at this, and as I look at what happened with the Bitcoin Gold fork and now Bitcoin 2x, I think there's one really important thing to note, in that I think that the Bitcoin 2x fork is going to be a much, much, much bigger deal than Bitcoin Gold was. A lot of people got excited about Bitcoin Gold. I think a lot of people too, there are a lot of people that are new to crypto, even from the Bitcoin Cash times. So there are a lot of people that have joined crypto since August, and this is their first, quote unquote fork. This is the first fork that they've ever had an opportunity to participate in. This is the first time they've ever gotten free money from Bitcoin. And so a lot of people put fresh money into Bitcoin, drove up the price. But now we're looking at it, from Bitcoin Gold's perspective. At one point in time, the futures, let's say, for the most part, the futures, because it's still very tough to get any type of access to Bitcoin Gold unless you had your money on a few places that really instantly credited. But I have my money, I have Bitcoin on my Ledger that has not been credited whatsoever. So I don't even have, I'm going to be getting Bitcoin Gold at some point in time, but I don't have it yet. So, I expect this price to go down even more. But at one point in time, this price was trading around $400 or so. Now it's trading at about $125. So it's already lost about 75% of its value. And I expect that number to go down as more and more places out there provide accessibility to Bitcoin Gold. So whether it's Ledger unlocking it or other places, other hardware wallets or other exchanges crediting you your Bitcoin Gold, I would expect people to sell that off at some point in time, most likely. I don't think that many people are really too confident in Bitcoin Gold as a cryptocurrency. So as I'm looking at that, I think that there was a lot of movements prior to the Bitcoin Gold fork, but when you're looking at what Bitcoin Gold is, it's not a good cryptocurrency. There's not a lot out there that really differentiates Bitcoin Gold from anything of any nature whatsoever, and provides any confidence for me. And I think a lot of people just viewing this as a crappy hard fork that was just didn't have much solid motivation for it whatsoever. So I'm not positive on Bitcoin Gold. I haven't been positive about Bitcoin Gold. Every technical person with any ounce of technical ability has told me that that it's really just a joke at this point as far as what they've done and how they prepared and how they've gone through this fork. So that's why I think that the Segwit2x, or part of that is why I think Segwit2x is going to really be a big deal. And we're going to see price movements leading up to Segwit2x that are going to be a lot more potentially aggressive, as well as price movements following the B2X fork that are going to be a lot more aggressive. And you probably want, what do I mean when I say that? Well, Bitcoin Gold had some pretty aggressive pricing movements following. It had some pretty substantial price movements the second that snapshot happened and after that went down. So Segwit2x, B2X, while it is a very contentious hard fork, while there's a lot of people out there that really don't like it, go on Twitter, search No2X, and you're going to see a billion different things, a lot of comments, a lot of negativity around it, and I'm not a fan of it. First of all, I'll preface and say that I don't think that Segwit2x, B2X should happen, but it seems like at this point in time, it's full steam ahead and it's going to happen. And I think it's just going to go to further diminish or further increase confusion around the Bitcoin brand, and overall not be a great thing for Bitcoin. However, it's going to be a lot more valuable in the case of actually having a fork, and there's going to be a lot more companies out there that are going to support Bitcoin 2x or B2X. So I think that leading up to the B2X, there was a lot of excitement leading up to Bitcoin Gold, which is a total non-event in my humble opinion. B2X is going to be a pretty big event in my opinion, and I think we're still a couple weeks away, but as more press comes out and as people start talking about it, and as people start to realize potentially the price that this is trading at on the futures market, how much free money you might be getting, things like that there's going to be a lot more of concerted efforts either to get into Bitcoin or even alternatively after that the B2X snapshot, after that happens, after the fork immediately occurs, you could also see some really similar movements to what I think we saw with Bitcoin Gold. But as I'm looking at this, I saw, I'm kind of trying to evaluate, like I said, I'm trying to evaluate whether, it's really best to have your investments weighted into Bitcoin in advance of the B2X fork, or if you're better off with those altcoins. And in a lot of cases, I'm still heavily weighted in Bitcoin, and I think that there were a lot of people that preemptively told, especially a lot of people I've kind of seen a lot of people all over the place preemptively telling people now is the time to hop into altcoins. Now is the time to hop into altcoins. It's altcoins, and Bitcoin is far outperforming them for the time being. Does that mean that come 2-3 weeks after the fork that Bitcoin is going to continue to kill and altcoins are going to stay down? No. But if you look at a day like today where the vast majority of, minus Vertcoin and minus a couple other cryptocurrencies. I mean, Stratus, although Stratus had a nice run recently, but Ethereum is down 6.5%, Neo's down 9% against Bitcoin, Lumen's down 6%, OMG is down close to 10%, Bitcoin Cash down 3%, Metal down 10%. I mean, you're talking about the vast majority, probably 85% of cryptocurrency right now really not being able to keep pace with Bitcoin. And I think that's something that you have to keep in mind. It's the sexy, fun thing to do in these markets is to talk about, making 100, 200, 300, 400x returns on some of these altcoins. And yeah, that's fun and that's fantastic when that happens. But they can also replicate some pretty negative movements as well. And there was even one comment that somebody made. I had a video previously, and so a lot of you have come in potentially from that video, or maybe that was one of the first videos you've seen from me. But I talked about if I were to start in crypto with $1,000, what I might do, and I talked about starting with 50% Bitcoin and maybe 50% Ethereum or 50% Litecoin, and understanding the markets, and then after that going to altcoins or dabbling into altcoins. But I recommended that because in a lot of cases, if you don't know what you're doing, you get your face ripped off by some of these altcoins if they have a down day. And somebody recently commented and was like, well, why would you only accept 100%? You're only going to double your money with Bitcoin. You're only going to make 100% when I can make 1,000% on whatever altcoins. And yeah, that's a cool thing to say. But if you're a newbie and you have no idea what you're doing, or if you're just even somebody who's just a fairly casual investor, it's very easy with altcoins to have a day where you're down 10, 20, 25%. And that's not always a fun thing for a lot of people, especially when you're down 10, 20, 25% and you got Bitcoin going up 5% on the day. So the whole Bitcoin versus altcoin debate right now, it's an interesting one. And for the time being, and take this with a grain of salt because I could absolutely be wrong and I can't predict the future and I'm by no means a freaking genius. But I still think that Bitcoin has some room to run in advance of the B2X Fork. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting, regardless of what a lot of people are telling you about these altcoins and how now is the time to be on altcoins and now is the time to buy. Maybe the time to buy altcoins is going to be a few days in advance of the fork when they're still down and all that money's in Bitcoin. Maybe then is the time to buy. I don't know. I don't know how things are going to advance personally, but I still think that there seems to be a lot of upward mobility with Bitcoin in advance of the B2X Fork, and I still think people are going to want to get that free crypto that, in my opinion, probably isn't going to overtake Bitcoin, but is going to provide you with potentially over a 10-15% dividend of Bitcoin, which is going to allow you to reinvest that into altcoins or reinvest that into Bitcoin or take that out as profit in fiat. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. That's my overall thoughts on the Bitcoin versus kind of altcoin debate that's happening right now, because a lot of people they're not taking their money out of cryptocurrency, or they're not really putting a lot of new money in. They're just moving money between cryptocurrencies. So you almost have to try to, in some cases, people are trying to time, do I have my money in Bitcoin? Do I have an Ethereum? Do I have any smaller altcoins? And there's not a ton of new money coming into it. It's just going back and forth between the larger cryptocurrencies, the smaller caps, and things like that. But that's kind of my overall thoughts on this going to the near future. As I said, I'm going to continue to stay heavily weighted into Bitcoin, running in advance of the B2X Fork. I still think there might be some additional room to move, or if the market tends to, if the market goes down, I think Bitcoin will hold its value a little bit better than a lot of these other cryptocurrencies. So we'll see how that plays out. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think is going to happen with where you feel like you're best concentrated with your investments, what you think is the best opportunity for you, as well as from that perspective where you're looking to make movements in advance of the Bitcoin Segwit2x fork. So definitely let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. And again, if you are new here by any chance, my name is Crypto Bobby, and I do daily videos on the subject of cryptocurrency, as well as those YouTube live crypto happy hours. Would love to have you join. So hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments as well. Crypto Bobby signing out. Peace.